Level 1, $10,000. You have 10 grand in the bank. Maybe it took you a year to save it, maybe 2. You feel good. Finally a cushion. Then you grab a $7 coffee and suddenly everyone becomes your personal financial advisor. That's why you can't afford a house. You know that's $200 a month if you do it daily, right? Meanwhile, millennials are complaining about rent. Here's the ugly truth. At 10K, society doesn't see you as wealthy. They see you as someone who should be stressed. Your money isn't for enjoying, it's for getting ahead, which is code for quiet and keep grinding. This is what I call the poor man's tax, but it's not about money, it's about permission. When you're at this level, you're not allowed to act like you've made it, because in everyone's eyes, you haven't. That 10K isn't wealth, it's a safety net you're supposed to be terrified of touching. And if you spend any of it on something fun, you failed the discipline test. Society sees you as the reason you're broke, even if you're not. The shirt you're wearing? Clearance rack at Target. And people notice. They don't say it, but they file it away. Still struggling. Level 2, $100,000. This is the loudest level of wealth and the most exhausting. At 100K, whether that's in savings, income, or assets, you've entered what I call the performance zone. This is where the Joneses live, and brother, they are watching. Here's the glitch. You finally have enough money to buy the symbols of success, but not enough to actually be successful. So what do most people do? They lease the BMW. They buy the Louis Vuitton. They get the watch that screams, "I'm doing fine, okay?" But here's what the people above you see. A neon sign that says, "I haven't arrived yet, but I'm really hoping you think I have." At this level, you're judged entirely on your brands, not your bank account, your logos. Because nobody can see your savings, but they can see if your purse has the right letters on it. And the cruel part? You're actually time poor. You're working your face off to maintain the image. The 100K person is often more stressed than the 10K person because now there's something to lose. You've got just enough to look the part, but not enough to stop playing the part. The shirt you're wearing? It's got a giant Gucci logo. And people judge you for that, too, just differently. You're trying too hard. You're the person old money whispers about at the country club. Level 3, $1 million. This is where the game changes. At $1 million, wealth stops being a trophy and starts being a tool, and society's judgment shifts with it. People stop caring what car you drive. They start caring what you do with your time. Because at this level, you've unlocked something most people never get: optionality. You can say no to the boss you hate. You can skip the wedding you don't want to attend. You can take a month off just because. And this is where stealth wealth begins. You stop wearing the logo shirts, not because you can't afford them, because you don't need the approval anymore. Your t-shirt is plain, navy blue, and cost $400, but nobody knows that, and that's the point. Why? Because you're no longer performing for the 100K crowd. You've exited that theater. The judgment here is about competence. When people find out you have money, they don't ask, "What do you drive?" They ask, "What did you build?" Or worse, "What do you actually do?" This is the level where people start assuming you should be productive with it. Your wealth is no longer impressive on its own. It's a resource you're expected to deploy intelligently. The invisible line here is quiet. You've stopped trying to look rich, and ironically, that's what makes people think you are. Level 4, $10 million. Money stops being about buying things. It starts being about buying no. At $10 million, society judges your access. Can you get the table at that restaurant? Can you skip the TSA line? Do you know someone who knows someone? This is where the new money versus old money war gets real. If you're flashy, if people know you have $10 million, you failed a social test you didn't even know you were taking. Old money doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive in a Lamborghini.
It arrives in a 15-year-old Range Rover that's been maintained like a Swiss watch. The judgment here is about taste and discretion. If you're loud, you're new rich and vaguely embarrassing. If you're quiet, you're established and respected. And here's the shift. Privacy becomes the ultimate luxury. The more people who know your net worth, the more you're bothered, pitched, judged, and resented. At $10 million, you're rich enough that people start having opinions about what you should do with it. And that's the tax nobody tells you about. Your shirt? Unbranded. Expensive fabric, fits perfectly, looks like nothing, costs more than most people's rent. Level 5, $100 million. You stop being a person, you become an institution. At $100 million, society's judgment shifts to impact. Nobody cares what you eat for breakfast. They care what you're doing for the world. And if the answer is nothing, you're now a hoarder, a dragon sitting on gold. This is the level where moral weight enters the equation. People expect philanthropic foundations, hospital wings with your name on them, scholarships, climate initiatives, something. If you're just spending it on yourself, yachts, jets, parties, you're not seen as living well. You're seen as wasteful, selfish, a walking, talking argument for higher taxes. The judgment here isn't about taste or access, it's about responsibility. With great power comes great scrutiny, and at 100 million, you're powerful whether you want to be or not. Society expects you to do something, preferably something they agree with. Your shirt doesn't matter. Nobody's looking at your shirt. They're Googling how much you donated last year. Level 6, $1 billion. At $1 billion, you lose your humanity. You're no longer a person making choices. You're a referendum, a policy failure, a symbol. Society judges you in purely political terms now. You're either a visionary saving the species, Elon building rockets, or a parasite who shouldn't exist. Insert billionaire everyone currently hates. There's no middle ground. And here's the weirdest part. Billionaires often cosplay as normal people just to feel human again. The hoodie, the Honda Accord, the diner breakfast. Why? Because it's the only way to interact with people without the filter of your net worth. It's the only way someone might be honest with you, argue with you, or treat you like a regular person instead of a walking fortune. The judgment at this level isn't even personal anymore. It's ideological. People hate you or worship you based on what you represent, not who you are. Your shirt? A $12 Hanes hoodie you wore to a Senate hearing, and people wrote 47 think pieces about what it means.